Hello, I'm Jim, and this is my wonderful wife, Carla,
Hello.
and we're another episode of Journey, Life, and Lessons.
Yes, and we are so excited about this incredible couple. Absolutely, you're going to be laughing, crying, you're
Yeah.
going to do all the things that God created us in our emotions. But we have an incredible couple named Randy and Sherri Miller, and they have traveled the country spreading the good news of Jesus through singing, speaking, comedy, and many other avenues. And their main goal is to help people to know Jesus, and that is a good message to have. And all these things just describes them in a nutshell. But throughout this episode, we're going to get to know them a lot more, and we're so excited to have Sherri and Randy Miller with us. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So we're looking forward to it. I think we're going to have a good time, have some great conversation.
Yes, absolutely. So as we read just a little bit about you, there's people who may not know you. You've been traveling for a while, so I have known you for many years, and you have been such a blessing, funny, and all the things that goes along with, I think, the sense of humor of God and just the impacting as well. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself a little more and how you got started, the beginning part of your story.
Well, I was born on my birthday, and it was a fun day, I guess, for me, but probably not for my mother.
Your mama.
But no, I'm from a musical family. On my father's side, there are 10 siblings, 7 boys and 3 girls.
Wow.
Now, out of those 10 siblings, 8 of them played instruments and sang. And on my mother's side, there are 5 children, and 3 of those children sang. So there was always kind of music going around, but I really didn't get interested in music until I was like 14. Got a little bit interested in playing harmonica, and started playing with my family, and then went from there to like a little regional group. And we traveled, gosh, probably 200 days a year as a regional group. Group was called the Galileans.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left there, went with the Kingsmen for about a little over 6 years. And now my babies, we're traveling and going, all over the place. But love music. And in my family, as far as the comedy part of me, I just like
They're all crazy and funny.
They are. They're crazy and they're funny, and so it's hard to not be crazy and funny, because you're going to have to keep up with the Joneses. You gotta be funny, because my family, if they like you and they love you, they are going to pick on you, and that's their love language. So you better arm yourself.
Yeah.
So that's how the humor stuff came out. I mean, that was just about if your defensive mechanism. So,
Yeah,
but now it's kind of put into
to have, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
he had no choice. He had to survive.
Yeah, when your dad comes through and says, "Son, your face looks like your neck threw up," you know your father loves you.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny.
And I grew up singing with my family, so it was interesting how God placed us together with our callings. Randy just plays 10 instruments, and
Yeah.
as a young boy when he got saved, I like to brag on him because he sometimes doesn't tell you the whole story, but one of his aunts bought him his first harmonica, and so he tells the stories about his dad beating on the wall at night. He would just practice that harmonica. But he also, when he was saved at 14, he made a vow to God that he would use the talents and any talents that God gave him always for ministry. And so God just kept pouring on these instruments, and Randy just kept adding and adding. And so, it's been amazing as his wife to watch him we lived in Nashville, Tennessee for so many years, and so many secular artists and different people would try, hey, you could do this, 6 months of shows with Jimmy Buffett and make what you're making in, 6 months. And it would take you 5 years to do that in ministry. And Randy said, no, I have made a vow to God that I would not, go down that path. And so as his wife, I like to honor him by letting people know that, that commitment, because it hasn't always been easy in ministry. And I grew up, my dad played piano for a group called the Rambos, and a lot of people may remember Dottie Rambo. And so when I was 3 weeks old, my parents moved to Nashville for my dad to play with them. And so I actually took my first steps on the Rambo's bus.
Aw.
And they would get me up. By the time I was about 3, they would get me up to sing "Oh What a Happy Day" every concert. So I just have these memories of growing up in these huge auditoriums and they'd sit me in a little chair on the side of the school auditorium or wherever. And then they also would make a bed for me under the product table. And I would sleep under there while they were selling records and stuff. And so that's kind of how I grew up. And then my dad and mom went into ministry when they left the Rambos and they started their own group. And I sang with them for so many years. And then I was a session backup singer in Nashville for years until this guy and I started in ministry, years and years ago. So 20 plus years.
It's been a
now.
while. I think it was back during the war when we met.
Back down the 1920s, right?
I said, if you
Remember
count,
you said 1946.
if you count from when I was 3, I don't want to tell you, that's coming up on 53 years of ministry. And then he's a little younger than me. I robbed the cradle over
We
here.
finally got our AARP cards, man. It's a good day
It's
for
the
us.
benefits still.
I've had mine.
You guys, you give 10% discount for seniors? Now we start acting. We
Go
don't
to
have to
Denny's,
ask
they
for it
do.
anymore. They'll automatically do it. Yeah.
He loves those buffets to get the senior card,
I love buffets. You don't get my beautiful physique by not eating buffet. I've got body by Shoney's or Cracker Barrel.
You've done some hard work on that, right?
I've been working on that. It's cost a lot of money to get to here.
Well, as we travel, it's funny because people's love language when you're in ministry is to feed you. And so we're going to write a book someday about just the food people bring to our bus store. Like we'll get a knock on the door and they're like, we brought you this chocolate cake. And literally it's in 3 layers. They hand it into you where you have to
Yeah, you had to have a contractor's license to put the thing together. When this lady brought it in different sections, you had to assemble it when you got into the. It was
Huge.
stacked up.
Yeah.
Oh my
goodness.
I thought, do we look like we need help eating? Because, but it's everywhere we go. So we have a nutritionalist that we finally got to the point where like, we've got to do something here because people, and so she's like, you just got to tell people in love, like for my health's sake, we have to eat a certain way. And,
Right.
so that's been a new adjustment, but I'm a little better at it than he is. He still likes fried chicken.
I can't help it.
That's when you tell somebody, says, take it and say that we give it to them.
Yes.
I tell them, I said, look, I know you guys are going to bring food over. And this is kind of like playing the trump card. I said, you have to tell Sherri that you guys can't rob us of a blessing to bring this plate of fried chicken over. So that way I still get my chicken.
When our oldest son was in college, we would just take it all home and he could take it to his dorm. And those boys would just but that's what we did. We just hide it and say, okay, take this to school. And they were poor college students. They loved it.
Oh, now she's talking about candy and pies and cakes. Fried chicken don't make it off our RV. It doesn't make it. This fellow right here is gone.
Yeah.
So
I grew up on fried chicken.
Chickens tremble at the sound.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cornbread. We had it
So
ready
once-
off the school bus.
Right. So once that's inside of us, that takes us when we eat this, it takes us back to our childhood.
Yeah.
It's a biological thing that happens. It's like, you taste, or like a smell takes you back to when your childhood. Tastes take me back there. So
It does.
So fried chicken takes me back to my grandmother's house in Valley, Alabama, Fairfax, Alabama.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I was thinking about as we were talking is just how blessed Randy and I feel that God would just take 2 people like us who come from these, like Randy came from Beulah, Alabama. I come from Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. Nobody's ever heard of it. We actually live in Cleveland, Tennessee now, which is a lot of people know Cleveland because it's the home to about 8 big ministries, Perry Stone and
Church of God,
the Church of God of Prophecy, Judy Jacobs. It is a mecca. When we moved here, we were like, wow, this is pretty close to what I think heaven is like.
Well, you actually have to come through Cleveland to get to heaven.
Yes,
so.
yes. We leave town every once in a while, and I'll tell Randy, I just want to go back to where Jesus is. And it's crazy because we had, our middle child graduated from Lee University here.
Mhm.
And so we left the Nashville area around what, 2016, 17. And we just decided, hey, all our kids are in college and we're on the road. We were on the road at that time a couple hundred days a year. And so we were like, let's just don't have a house for a couple of years. Let's see where God puts us, And we did that. And we had about a year and a half of, we would minister in New Orleans, say for a revival, and we'd have a few days off and be working our way. Then we'd go to the beach, or and so we did that for a little bit. And
in our RV. I mean, it's not. We weren't.
Yeah, we weren't living in a car.
Bicycle. That's a good thing. You wouldn't have had that physique you've been working on with all that fried chicken.
You're right.
I guess I should have.
probably need to get on the Huffy more often.
I should have clarified that.
Yeah.
So yes, we were living in comfort, and we have a recording studio in the town where Randy's from that has a little condo there. So we had a place to call home, but we weren't, just locked in, and we just enjoyed that. And my mother became ill. Long story short, we felt like it was time. We had, she was with us, and we needed to get back, settle down somewhere so we could really focus on her care. And Saudi Daisy happens to be in the Cleveland area, Chattanooga, actually, Tennessee. And so we were just specifically looking for a house that had all the things that would fit her needs and our needs. And God just orchestrated it. Like I said, our son had graduated from Lee in 2015, and you would have never told me Cleveland, Tennessee. I mean, and so as we were looking at homes in Chattanooga, this house just kept popping up on Zillow, and I said, God's just pulling me to this house, and so we all agreed this was our home, and we moved in February of 2020, and my mother passed away the day after Easter in April. So it was kind of amazing how God, we were specifically looking for her needs, but yet it has just been such an amazing place for us, for our ministry, the doors that God has opened here for us. And we are now associate pastors at a church in Chattanooga. And so we, along with being on the road, now we're really plugged into a feeding station that is just been unbelievable for our ministry and for us. And
you guys know that it's imperative to have a great feeding station, because if you're not being filled up with something when you go out, you can't give it. So you have to be in a watering hole that will sow into you and speak into you and speak life into you, and sermons are coming at us that feed us and into overflow. So when we're in overflow, the overflow is when we go out, we share it with other people.
Yes.
So it fills us up, and then we take that message out to wherever we're going.
Right. And I think it's so important, because if you don't have it in you, it can't come out. But what you do have in you will come out. So whether it's good or bad. So filling yourself up with the positive thing, having a good circle of friends, having a good spiritual environment. I mean, it has just transformed your life. And so, I think there's a lot of people who forget that. They're so involved in ministry, and they're giving out, and they forget to fill up,
We were there.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for my heritage, because my dad, he was a pastor and evangelist, but he poured into himself. I mean, he was just he preached since he was 16 and passed away at 55. And he was on fire as much at the end of as he was at the beginning, because he kept pouring that into him, and he only allows certain people around him that would speak the positivity into him. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Psalms tells us about that. And I'm paraphrasing, wise people want to hang with wise, and the fool will surround himself with fools. But that's what we should surround ourselves with people that lift us up, and sow into us positive things. Because when you hang around people that are negative all the time, or looking at the glass half empty,
that's why I don't like hanging
out
with you very much.
I know. I'm the reason the glass is half empty.
Now I know what my problem is. No, I'm just kidding.
They carry that dark cloud, kind of thing. And if you hang around that long enough, then it starts to pull you down. You start taking on that. And we want to be around people that will augment what we do as far as in Christ.
And we
you know.
want to be a light in a dark world.
Mhm.
Like for Randy and I, a lot of because we've been around it so long, we've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it.
Right.
And we decided a long time ago that the world is so hungry for real. The
Mhm.
world is so hungry for,
Right.
just give me something that's real. And
Right.
so our ministry has been really focused in that area, and very much focused on, we don't like to come into a place and minister and leave and
Mhm.
not have a follow-up, because really, I mean, even in outside the Christian world, I've heard this so many times, the fortunes in the follow-up. That's even, you hear that in so many like network marketing things, and I've heard it my whole life. But
Right.
honestly, in God's work, it's so true, because you can come in and you can uplift somebody, you can lead them to the Lord, and you can do all these things. But if there's not that follow-up where somebody's there saying, now here's what you need to do, and this is where you need to go, and you need to submerge yourself in this, and be in the word, and
Yeah.
just building this relationship with God and all those things. So it's really changed for us a lot of our ministry, and through our feeding station, we've learned a lot of things have changed for
Mhm.
us. And so we're just thankful. Metro Tab Church in Chattanooga is where we are, and Dr. Steve Ball and his wife Rita Ball are our pastors, and we pull out on the road, they're like, we're covering you guys. We got you. And I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Shirley Arnold, but she is on staff as well. And just having those people around us that, support our ministry and believe in us, so that we can go out and pour into other people. And, Randy and I, we're just nothing. We're just servants of God that just want to be used.
Yeah,
So that's
awesome. And you're doing that, and you're saying you're following up.
Mhm.
People may hear you all, minister, and your characters, and just how it can connect the people.
Mhm.
And then you follow up, and to be like, make them feel probably even more important, and like, wow, they care. They're just not here and gone.
Mhm.
They have a
right.
true heart.
Right.
So I mean, that's probably had to be a blessing to see the impact that you have when you stay around and follow up with people, isn't it?
It is, and like, just as a matter of fact, just before we came on, I received a message from a young lady. I said she's a mom, but her little girl is probably 6, so I'd say she's in her 30s. But we met her at a camp in Texas, and she just texted me right before we came on and asked me if I would call her, and I asked if everything was okay, and she said her stepdad just passed away. And I said, as soon as I'm done, babe, I will call you. But I text our daughter-in-law, and I said, will you call Naomi and pray over her until I can get off, of what we're doing, and call her. And, I just never want to, I told Randy, we were on our way to church Sunday, and I said, I don't want to stand before God and ever feel, ever hear him say, I put these people in your path,
Right.
and you let them down, like and it's hard. I mean, because we meet so many thousands of people,
Right.
and I'm sure there have been people that have been missed, unfortunately. But we try really hard to just connect, and then even if we don't actually connect with that person, we always talk with the pastor and the staff and say, this person raised their hand for salvation. This person, if they're not
Mhm.
aware of what was going on, will you guys just and most pastors are already on, on top of it, but
Right.
just to make sure that somebody besides us knows, hey, there's a need there. They're hurting, or they're, they've expressed this to us, or, just, it's so
Mhm.
important, because we're called to do this, and it's our responsibility as servants of God to really make sure that we're not just out here carelessly, doing ministry, and so I feel humbled. Like, I've struggled a lot with, wow, how could God use me? I've messed up so many times in life, and I think, Lord, really? But he's just worked on me and worked on me, and just, built me internally with this strength of, you're my child, and
Right.
I've made you this way, and these things that you've come through and these dumb decisions you've made, I've turned them around and let you learn lessons from them and allowed you to grow and be able to turn around and help somebody else. It helps somebody who feels like they're not good enough or they, you know.
Well, God has a tendency, he loves to use flawed people, because all of us are flawed. If you're human, we have flaws.
Right.
David murdered, he was a murderer. I mean, he murdered, and so many people in the Bible that have been flawed, but God used them. And I think sometimes God used us as flawed people so we can minister to other flawed people and let them know that, hey, you know what? I'm done the same stuff that you've done, but grace covers a multitude of sins. So let me tell you about how you can get out of your situation.
Right.
Let me tell you about, I know where you are right now, or I know where you've been, but I know where you can go. And let me introduce you to the path that you can take. Let me introduce you to the cross. Let me introduce you to the one that died, that shed his blood that covered the multitude of sin. And, and so because of that, like with Sherri, with the things that she went through, there's a certain genre of people that she can minister to that I don't connect.
Right.
I can't connect with them on that plateau. But there's people that that I connect with because some of the things that I've done in my past, my BC, my before Christ self, that I can minister to, and I can say, hey, I've been down this road where my needle was stuck on stupid, and I was just doing dumb stuff all the time. I've been there. Johnny, let me tell you, you tell me that, you're just doing dumb stuff all the time and your needle stuck on stupid. Let me tell you about what I did. So I think he used flawed people in order to minister to other flawed people.
Absolutely. And I think that because of those flaws, we make our own decisions. They can be stupid, whatever it is, but God uses everything. And I believe that even in the midst of our wrong choices, our wrong relationships, the wrong choices that we made, that God uses that, because nothing goes without God being able to use it. And I think that makes you more impacting on other people, because there's people that you can reach that I can't, people I can, you can't, because of our experiences.
That's right.
I believe that has made you more impacting, in the society. Like, well, God can't use me now because look what all I've done. I've messed up so bad, been in the wrong places, wrong things, wrong people. But God says, let me show you what I can do. And then he puts the people in your path that says, the same thing that you went through. And then you're able to testify to them, witness to them, like, I was here, but God has blessed me. Look where I'm at because of God's grace, because of his forgiveness, because of his love, his mercy. So because of that, but in society, we'll hear those recordings like, oh, I just can't testify. I just can't witness people. I cannot.
I'm not good enough. I can't do this.
And it's actually the opposite thinking, because when you have walked those paths, like, you're more, able to, relate to that person. And I think, like, I'm blown away every day at the people that God will just drop in your path, and you're like, I go back in my mind and think, okay. But funny thing, and you guys probably have this too, because when you're in ministry, when you come into a place, I noticed, people are kind of looking at us and they're like, oh, they live a perfect life and they got that big RV, and and in my mind, I'm thinking about the nights we've been broken down, and he's having to put his finger in a diesel line while I run down half a mile with a jug to get diesel in a milk jug that we've had to pour out, and I'm crying, and I'm just flat tires and kids sick, and I think they have no clue, and so when you can just really be real and say, hey, we're nothing, only because of grace and because of God are we able to just continue to go and be transparent, and honestly, last year, and 2020 kind of, everybody talks about it, how it just reshaped so many things. And we took a step back and said, okay, Lord, like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Because that's the first time, honestly, prior to 2020, we maybe had 2 Sundays off a year.
Oh, wow.
And so then all of a sudden we're sitting at home like, okay, hey, honey, I love you, but yet God just provided in ways. Randy produces, and we have a recording studios and things like that. And so God just did him work that he was able to do in the studio and not be around people. And, when we were told not to be. And so, God just provided through that. And then this past January, we were able to go, we were ministering at a conference in Texarkana. And we were feeling just like, okay, are we supposed to go back like we were pre-2020? We're older now. And we don't, the thought of that many dates and leaving home and grandchildren and all that, leaving our babies and all that, it looks different now.
Mhm.
And, we talked kind of before we were on the program about how, just the traveling part of it and the unloading, the things that nobody sees, that's different. So we were kind of at this place when we went to Texarkana, we were kind of like, okay, God, where do you want us? Like, what are you, and it was a conference for ministers. The theme of that conference was don't quit, don't give up, keep pushing. And after about the third service, I'm like, okay, this whole thing was just for me and Randy, and he was on the platform during one of the services, and I was already down in some seats. We were both just overcome by the Holy Spirit and crying. He looks at me and he's like, come up here. And there's all these cameras everywhere. And I thought, I'm not coming up there, Finally, he was like, come up here. And we were just praying and just worshiping. And God just did a thing for us that was like, I'm telling you, no matter how hard it gets, don't quit. Don't give up. Keep going. If diesel prices are $12 a gallon, keep going, and
Well, he is Jehovah Jireh. He'll
Mhm.
provide it.
Oh,
He
yes.
does.
And I'm going back to where a little bit before, when we're ministering to flawed people and God's using us, God can take what the enemy meant for evil. God will turn around and use it for good. So our backstories, your backstories, everything that we have gone through, that Satan tried to destroy us or try to knock us out or try to make us feel like we're incapable or not worthy to minister, God will turn those stories into something good to use to somebody else. But yes, we got to that point at that conference where we were like, are we even supposed to be doing this anymore? Are we where we need to be? God, we feel a season changing because Sherri and I'm like, okay, Lord, we started praying for new doors to open.
Yes.
And let's just be honest with you, when God starts to open new doors and new territory, he sometimes closes the other doors first, because he can't open a new door until that other door has been closed.
And we don't
Well,
necessarily want to close them ourselves.
right, but when God closes that door, you're like, huh? You went total Scooby-Doo, like, who closed the door behind me? Right? And you're looking around and you're like, okay, God, what's going on here? And then we start questioning, but God is birthing you into another season, birthing us into another season. But we're too busy looking at the back of the door that slammed in our back to see the door that's opening up in front of us. That God wanted to elevate us into another position, and we're questioning, like, Father, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? He's like, well, you asked for new territory, dummy. Look ahead. We were created to move forward, not to look backwards. That's why the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror, because we've got something in front of us that's bigger than our past, as well as you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And not just for people in ministry, this is for anybody. I mean, because when you accept Jesus into your heart and you become a Christian, you have a calling, whether you're doing what we do, what you guys do, or you're just the person that doesn't even yet quite know where you fit in. God has a place for you. And
Absolutely.
so all of this, it pertains to everybody. It's not just us. It's not just people that, you may be the Sunday school teacher, which is equally as important. You may be the guy that gets to the church early and makes coffee and, greets people. Or you may be the person at Walmart that checks people out, and you never know who. Everybody's equal. I mean, in God's kingdom, you're called to be that person, and that light. And I think we need, more than ever, everybody needs to be a light to the world.
Right. Yeah, and I believe, like you were saying, that it doesn't matter what your giftings are. I mean, there's no big or small gifts in the kingdom of
No,
God. So I
Right.
no,
believe if you're making the coffee or if you're preaching on the pulpit, you still are impacting
Yeah.
someone throughout your day. Someone in
absolutely.
your life is being impacted. And I think
Yes.
a lot of people want to start big. They want to start on the pulpit when they haven't took the process, the journey of getting there. With me, I've been from the janitor all the way to on the pulpit for me. So I've done everything in between there. So but God uses it all. I mean, everybody does not have the
Yes.
same gifts. So I mean, to make the coffee, to be the person who opens up the door and smiles and says, "Hello, welcome to church." Welcome to McDonald's, wherever you're at.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
smile and make it your best if you possibly can, because those are someone that you're impacting. And so I believe, that don't despise small beginnings.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, don't despise the small beginnings.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's funny that you said that because I think I was listening to somebody. Oh, I know I was breezing through I never sit down really and watch TV unless I'm doing like 10 things. But I think I was watching I think it was American Idol, and I heard this little girl say, I've been working, I just deserve this. I have been just trying to do this. And she's like 15. And I thought,
Oh, wow.
oh, child, honey, Lord help you. If you had worked every day, 365 days a year for your 15 years, you have no idea what's ahead. But I guess it's good that God doesn't let us know, sometimes what is ahead because,
Right.
we wouldn't, we probably never leave home.
It would be scary.
Yeah. We're like, Lord, protect us in this Walmart parking lot we're sleeping in where there's blue lights and
But the journey is fabulous.
yes, it is fabulous.
Every day's an adventure. And not
With
just
him.
not just with us, but to all the people that are watching this, every day is an adventure. And every day that you have, you should accept that day and thank God for that.
Yes.
Another opportunity
Right.
that you can speak life into
Oh,
someone.
yes.
Whether it is by the beef jerky stand at, Wawa supermarket or whatever, it doesn't matter where you are. There's always an opportunity to share the love of Christ in our journey.
Right.
And as I heard a fellow say one time that it was not really about the destination that they were going on this like travel channel or something like that. He's like, it wasn't really about the destination. It was about the journey getting there. In our journey, when we're planning on doing whatever in our life, the journey is the times that we are actually being utilized the most to minister to
Except
people.
I'm really ready for
to-
my destination because I'm ready for the Lord to come back. I'm
Yeah.
getting tired of this old world. Not that I don't love my babies and my husband and life, but I think, okay, anytime now, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, well, it's I get that. I totally get that. But it's as we travel and do what we do, and as you guys you do what you do, and as the people that are watching, you get up and you do life. Um, take every day. Don't take it for granted, but take it as another opportunity
Right.
to be able to show the love of Christ to somebody.
Yeah.
Whether you are a Walmart greeter or whether you're a coffee guy or whether you're whatever.
I was
What's that?
trying to get you.
You got my big aardvark
Yeah,
nose
no,
right there in
I
the
was trying to,
camera.
yeah, I was trying to get
So you have to just take it and run with it
Yeah.
with your life.
Amen.
So I kind of lost where I was going with there, but anyway, back to you.
I was
Bob.
going to
Oh,
say, with you all sharing your life, just like you say, Sherri, you was like, I don't feel like I'm worthy of who I am, what I've been through my life to be able to impact anybody. But the things that you've gone through, both of every one of us, everybody watching, everybody's gone through something. They think, nobody's been through the problems I've been through.
Right.
I'm not special. I won't be able to help anybody. But then you
Right.
start talking and sharing things, and the talents and abilities that you all been exposed to at a young age and grew up in, with music, and then just being your characters and comedian type characters. Music is one way to touch people's heart and speak to them in ways they don't even realize. And and people, if they're stressed and upset, what's a good thing for them to get relief is laughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have those two mixed together. God's given both of you, your family, that ability to be able to use your talents that come so naturally to just to bring such joy and fulfillment to others around you.
That's Randy. I mean, we're pointing at each other, but Randy is just he's just naturally, God has just given him that jovial, funny, that was one of the first things that we probably loved about each other when we were dating. It was just to laugh so much, and we can't go in a place where sit down at a table at a restaurant, by the end of the meal, the waiter or waitress ready to go home with us because of him, because he's like have them dying laughing and but that's a God-given thing. It's a real joy that he has, and then I've just had to go along with it because I'm married to it.
Yeah, but Sherri has this gift though, and she can remember details about people, their names, and she can remember conversations that she had 3 years ago. This is Dan and Johnny, and they're the sons of Catherine and Samuel. Jan, they have these children, grandchildren, and they play t-ball together. And I mean, it's just all this. It's just like a lineage, and she remembers all this stuff. And Sherri has this gift of she's so thoughtful, and it's like she'll just write a card out. At me, I'm wide open. I don't write cards, probably because you couldn't read it if I tried to write it.
I was gonna say
chicken scratch.
These are hieroglyphics. I'm not sure what he was trying to say right here, but she has this ability that people just love her and gravitate to her, and she remains connected with them, just writing cards. She's like, you know what? I think Sue Ellen, I just really feel like I need to send Sue Ellen a card and just let her know that I'm thinking about her. And then Sue Ellen needed to hear from somebody. God just in Sherri's, she's open to that, and she just hears from God. She just hears from God, and she's real thoughtful like that.
I think I've prayed a lot though for God to help me to be sensitive to people. And I think as a Christian, that's, especially as a woman, motherly, grandmotherly, all that. I had a lot of godly women in, my mother's mother, pastor's wife for 50 years, my parents in ministry. And so I asked God to just really give me, I've always had a heart for people, but to just really give me that.
A lot of people.
Like mostly I can't remember a lot of normal stuff, but I can go into church and like say, and bless Randy's heart, he's running wide open trying to carry in 12 guitars and set everything up. He'll say, Randy Miller, nice to meet you. I'm like,
no, I'm serious. I can't remember.
I'm like, we had lunch at their house the last time we were here, Randy.
No, if I had lunch with them, I would remember that. But I'm horrible. I can't remember a name. Yeah. And that's part of me. It's just I'm that way. But if I can remember your face, but I can remember, hey, we went and had barbecue. You ate mustard sauce and you had tater tots for that. But I can't remember your name.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know your name. Hey, buddy, good to see you.
And I tell him it was
to you.
Yeah. I have to tell this story. So y'all, it's so funny. I literally, every chance I get to tell it, I have to tell it. So we sing up in northern Wisconsin at this, just several churches up there, but especially our favorite church up there. And so years ago we were there, and we had a little break in between. And so I went out to the restroom, and I noticed this little girl following me, out. And she was just kind of looking at me. Like I said, just kind of checking us out. She's checking me out. And I went in, I'm washing my hands. I could see her in the mirror, kind of looking at me and just staring at me. I said, hey, how are you doing? And she said, your daddy plays that harmonica so good. So now I always throw that in it. I said, my dad, what can I say? He's awesome. She was so serious. I came right back out. I said, you're never going to guess I'm taking this kid home with me. I don't know who she belongs to, but she's going home with me.
Kid's staying in Wisconsin.
He's like, nope, I'm not having it.
No,
not having it.
Well, the first time I met you, which was years ago, Randy, you was singing at an event that we had at my brother's church. You were singing a Walmart song, so I remember you from years back. You know, you sang that song. It was all hilarious, laughing, and then I met Sherri later, and I'm like, your harmony is perfect. I mean, you guys have perfect harmony. Your hearts are just like one. You know, just kind of you both of you just shine. You know, with your love and with your genuineness, and it works together. It's no, it's
Bless
you
you.
see why God has put you two together. I mean, because it's
Yes.
definitely a match made in heaven for sure. And so,
Thank
but
you.
I seen, you know, you singing a song called Walmart song many years ago, and that has stuck with me. So humor, but it had a message to it. But the humor is what I remember about it too. And you just played effortlessly on the piano. So that was hilarious to me. I remember that.
Oh, but you know, the song was just talking about losing your car in a Walmart parking lot, and I was sharing the story before we started the broadcast. It happened to me, but it wasn't at Walmart, and I wrote it at Walmart so that people could relate to that. But what had happened was, I was flying out to California to go do some ministry dates out there. So I flew out on like Delta, and they flew out of like the South Terminal. Well, I'm I'm tight with my money, so I'm always looking for a deal. So, but the deal was I could fly out in Delta, and I could come back on a different airline. I got a better deal, so I'm like, yeah, I'm about that. Well, unknown to me, I parked in the South Terminal parking, and it was like C34 or something. You know, it was the slot in the parking lot's huge. It's like C34. And I wrote it number down. I put it in my wallet and put it in my pocket and flew. And then did the ministry, you know, engagements. And then I flew back on like United or something. And they came in on the North Terminal parking. So in the airport itself, it's just a kind of a hallway that separates the two. But once you get out of that hallway, it's just acres of property. So I get to C34 and I'm looking, my car's not there. I'm like,
Oh no.
somebody has stolen my vehicle. So I'm kind of wandering around, you know, maybe I didn't write this down right or something, looking for it, you know, I can't find the car. And so finally I waved down the little security guard guy on his golf cart. And he's got that little
Oh,
yellow light going up on the top of there. He got he's got his little belt with his taser on it, his pistol with one bullet, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm like, yeah, I can't find my car. I've looked all around. Can you help me? Can you drive me around? Can you do something? I mean, he's like, can I see your ticket? And so so the ticket, show him the ticket, and he's like, yeah, you flew out on a different terminal. You're in the wrong parking lot. You need to be on the other side. He said, this happens all the time. And so that's how and then I wrote the song kind of like that. But I mean, I lost my car. I thought somebody had just stolen. But being just sitting in Walmart parking lot, if I like to watch people,
Oh
and
boy, yeah,
you
that's
could
good
just,
place.
if you sit and watch people, there's songs to be written.
Yeah.
Not just about Walmart. I mean, you could write all kinds of songs.
And if it's crazy
Watching
and funny, he'll come up with it. I have to tell him real
Yeah.
quick this story. So I had to start wearing a hormone patch, which I don't wear anymore. But anyway, he used to wouldn't come around me if I didn't have it on. He was scared of me.
But turn into a T-Rex.
Oh my God.
But so one night we were asleep, and so I had a problem with this thing sticking to me, and it would come off, and this and that, and I would lose them. So I lost one, and I had been looking for it. I was crawling around the next day looking for it in, all over, couldn't find it. Well, not really thinking that afternoon, he was just not in a good mood. He had a horrible headache. He said he felt like his blood pressure was up, this and that, the other. I mean, he was not a happy guy. And so this is so good. He called me and I was out shopping, and I'll let him tell you what he said when he called.
Well, I mean, so she had put on a fresh, chock full of estrogen hormone patch. I mean, it's just you stick it on you and your body absorbs it, right?
Right.
And it's full of estrogen. So that night before we went to bed, we laid. I took a shower and we got ready for bed, laid down, and sometime through the night, Sherri rolled and that thing came off of her, and I rolled onto it sometime through the night, and it stuck to my back.
Oh
And the
no.
t-shirt fell down, so I didn't know the thing was on me. You know, and all night.
This is not a joke. This is a
Oh, it's the real
story.
thing. So all
Yeah.
night, my body's going. Yeah, I'm absorbing all that estrogen, and so I call Sherri up probably, I don't know, maybe 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I was out running
I
around.
had a headache, just felt
yeah.
bad. I felt horrible. I'm like, babe, I just don't feel right. She's like, what's going on? And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. Just something doesn't feel right. She's like, well, do you have a fever? I'm like, no, I don't have a fever. She's like, your blood pressure? I'm like, no, it's not my blood pressure. She's like, is it whatever? I was like, I don't know what it is. What is wrong with me? But that night when I was going to take another shower that night, Sherri goes,
I saw it. When
She
he
saw
went
it.
to
She
get in the
stuck,
shower, I
stuck
said,
to my back. She said,
"Babe, my
There it
patch has
is."
been on you."
but I will tell you this: that
They
that
used
patch
to work.
was awesome. I mean, when it worked, I mean, it
They
would just
work.
change her whole outlook. And I started writing a song. Well, I'd sell the kidney right out of my back to buy my wife another hormone patch. You know, it's just, I'm like, I love it.
I
It was
told
great.
you to get more than you bargained for this one. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good.
I
We
should
love
have brought that story up.
You brought it up, not me.
it. It's a good one too. One for the books.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can talk all night long because we love you guys to pieces. We're getting ready to wrap up. But we absolutely adore you guys. You guys are
Oh, we do, you guys too.
We love your stories. We love your sense of humor. We love your
Bless you, bless you.
experiences. I mean, everything that you do reflects God's to us. And so we absolutely adore you guys. And we
Thank
can't
you
wait to
all.
have you on the show. I mean, because
Yes.
you guys
Yes, the next time we'll sing some for you. Randy will bring up acoustic guitar and we'll sing. I do a Friday night live and have some jewelry. So I have a little jewelry business on the side, and so sometimes we'll sing a little bit and do a little thing here or there, you know.
I do gospel mime. Never get out of that box.
I have a feeling he's going to grab a guitar. That we may be out of time, babe. But it's been neat just to see, you know, another tool like the comedy, like the music. Those are all things that God has given us, like He gives you guys these avenues that gets that person's attention.
right.
And so our pastor's mom was saying to me the last Sunday, she said, you know, I watched your live, and she said your jewelry that is not, you know, it's just a tool. She said you're really ministering and really hitting home with some of these women, you know, and I was like, thank you, Lord, because this was just something that I came up with during COVID, and you know, I started making a few pieces of jewelry, and I thought this is something that will kind of help, and God just really just exploded it. So it's been another avenue and a blessing.
And I have
you
some
know, for us.
I have some of your jewelry too. I love it.
Do you?
I did.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, see, I told you he grabbed a guitar, so it's not in tune. You have been faithful. And all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing
of the goodness
of God. He's been so good to us.
Yes, He has.
Good.
Yes,
Thank you guys for having us.
absolutely a
Thank
pleasure.
you, thank you.
I was looking forward to it, and thank you for singing that. That's one of my favorite songs. It just reminds me so much, you know, how good God is. Even when we're on the side of the road with the tires flat, or you know, we're having some kind of issue.
Amen.
Family, He's always good, no matter what it is. So, thank you for being there, for singing this song, and
Oh yeah.
love you guys.
We're honored. And if you guys, anybody wants to get in touch with us, I was just going to give you my email, our email. It's Miller Ministries 1 1 at gmail.com. So Miller Ministries at gmail.com, and ministries is MINISTRIES.
And also they can go on Facebook as well, Randy and Sherri Miller.
Yep.
They can look on there if they want to drop us a line there. But it's Randy and Sherri Miller. Is it Randy and Sherri Miller Ministry or just Randy and Sherri Miller? Just Randy and Sherri Miller. But and then you can go look at my Randy Miller Gospel Mime Comedy Plan.
So all those links that you talked about and the Facebook links and stuff, I'll put it into there so people can just click on it and they can have it, because
that'd be great.
I'm sure there's people who want to connect with you. So yeah, we absolutely. Is there other ways to connect with you, or is those the best way?
Those are usually the best. I was telling Randy earlier, we had a website for years, but it just seemed like people always ended up finding us a different way, and so we were kind of like, we're a little older. We might be a little technical.
Yeah, you can contact us through telegraph or Morse code or smoke signals.
I mean, we do have smartphones. We have smartphones. So our children have tried to, bring us into so we are definitely, that's an area we need improvement in, and we're working on that. So,
so we go around and we ask 6-year-olds, hey, can you tell me how to do this with my phone?
Yeah, we ask our 4-year-old granddaughter, and she tells us everything to do. So.
Kindergartners can help you now. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, I didn't have a computer till my age till like we was in high school, and I'm like, now kindergarten.
How did we survive without a phone? I don't know.
we did have phones, but we had those little pigtail cables on it, and you could just stretch that thing all the way from the kitchen to your bedrooms.
Well, they're younger than us.
And you close the door, and you're like, no, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
That's what we're doing right now.
Pretty awesome. We got 3-way calling. We thought, woo!
Yeah, right. That's right.
Well, God bless you guys too. We just thank you so much for thinking of us and supporting our ministry, and we want to do the same for you all. And so God bless you guys so much for having us on.
Thank you so much for having us on. We really appreciate it.
I just want to say for people watching, probably should say this in the beginning, but there's a share button, that you can share this on Facebook, and so others can see this. And even if you're watching this on, replay or something like that, you can still share it to others. So, their ministry can be shared with others, and their character, and just spread the word.
Right.
Yes. Amen. Same for you guys. We will definitely be posting it on our social media, and we love what you guys are doing, and honor you guys for just being a light to a dark world, for sure.
Yeah, thank you. We always every day want to do what God has for us to do, whatever that is, and take us wherever we need to go and impact other people. So there's one thing that I want you guys to do there, because you guys have been involved in ministry. You guys are amazing, and God works through you. So what advice would you give, or words of encouragement or wisdom would you give someone who just thought to stepping into a role of ministry? Something, they may be traveling and singing groups, or it could be in the pulpit. What would you share that could give them some encouragement?
So when you start in ministry and when you accept the calling, there will be times where the enemy is pressing against you. And there are going to be times, as Sherri and I, we just conveyed. I mean, this was just recently for us. There will be times when you feel like giving up. But Galatians 6:9 says, be ye not weary in well doing, or in due season you're going to reap if you faint not.
Right.
Stay in the fight, stay in ministries, keep doing what you're doing.
Stay in the word
for a reason, and you're being fought for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the enemy sees you as a threat. If you're not being fought against, or there's not opposition there, we might need to check out what's going on there. But if there's enemy there and he's pressing against you and he's fighting you, just know you're doing something good in the kingdom.
I would definitely say stay grounded and remember that it's not about you ever.
Right.
It's about God, and keep in your mind that everything you're doing, it has nothing to do with you or anything great about you.
Right.
I think sometimes in ministry people forget that, because we live in this, people get fleshly and they get in the world, and that worldly mindset. And so, I just always try to just, talk to God, especially before we go into minister, before anything we're doing, whether we're speaking at an event or singing or whatever we're doing, just God, take me out of it, just use us as tools for you, and whatever, just because I'm a little extra, I like to wear a lot of jewelry and all my stuff, and
Okay.
so that's just how I am, because I grew up in that, that world of everybody did that. And, so I can kind of maybe sometimes that's why I think I try so hard to not be that way, is I don't want to be perceived as anything about me,
Right.
that
That's
I
good.
feel my heart will shine bigger than maybe my earrings.
And
Sometimes.
and one more thing, protect your anointing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You protect your anointing, but as we were talking about the people that we allow into our circles, and because some people can be assigned to you by the enemy to pull you down, to be a succubus and just pull the life out of you, and pull and bring in bring chaos into your life. And even though when the enemy says, oh, I can't really touch them, I can't get them because I have a hedge of protection on them, but I can send this person here to distract them, or to to manipulate them into something else. But protect your anointing, because when you have an anointing, you have a target.
Yeah.
So,
and your atmosphere, protect your atmosphere. Like, it's been amazing. I know it seems crazy, but when you're walking into a service, for us, it's easy to get distracted. People are, so we try to just gather ourselves and come in fresh,
Right.
not to be distant, but you just don't know what the enemy is going to throw at you, and so your atmosphere, you're staying in the word, staying rooted in the word of God, and that's your prayer life, all the things. Those are the things that make or break somebody in ministry.
That's very good. I mean,
Yeah.
just to remind people that, where they're at. And so those are very good things to, bring back to the point there. So that's very good, the things to remember.
One thing that is just a little bitty thing, and I'll hush, but our pastors taught us this, and it's one thing that, I thought, wow, I was 53, 54 when I learned this, but they taught us to leave worship music going in your home when you're not even there, because, the devil, he don't want to be where there's worship or where there's praise, and so we'll be walking out the door and I'll say, Alexa, play praise music, just it created an atmosphere of praise, in your Alexa. The station you like. She said, Alexa, be quiet. So, it's funny. Yeah,
here's the station you like. Tupac Shakur. Wait a minute. No, not that one, Alexa.
Fried chicken.
Yeah, absolutely.
My Alexa would not know what Tupac, whoever that is.
But yeah, because the Bible tells us that he inhabits the praises of his people. Right. So when there's praise going on in your house, even though you're not there, there's still praise that he's inhabiting. Yeah. And so it's in your house. So
and it works.
Protect your atmosphere.
So our cats and dogs, they got saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, saved furry pets, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
So we really enjoyed you all being on here. It's just been awesome with your all message ministry. And we just, hopefully we can be able to do this again some other time.
Yeah,
for sure. Let us know.
Glad everybody watching here. Hope you enjoyed this and didn't laugh too much.
Laughed a lot.
And so we just want to thank you for being here again, and we'll talk to you all later.
All right, love you.
Bye.